Hi, I want to talk today about the link between digestion and mental health. I feel like I see a lot of people in the office that had no idea that their digestion could be impacting things like anxiety, depression, OCD, mood, all of those things. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about that this week. So when you saw the title of this video, you might have thought, man, she is making a big leap. What in the world does digestion have to do with all that? So if you missed a video I did last week on digestion as a foundation of good health, you might want to also go back and look at that. But let's talk specifically about why digestion has to do with mood, anxiety, depression, those kinds of things. And let's start with serotonin. 95% of your serotonin is produced in your intestines. And why does that matter? Serotonin is it's kind of like a happy molecule. It makes us feel good. It gives us a good mood. It makes us sleep well. It controls anxiety, depression, OCD, those kinds of things. And women seem to be more sensitive to these lower levels of serotonin than men do for some reason. But you can see why, if you don't have a good digestive environment, the environment in your intestines isn't good, then this 90% of serotonin that's coming from your gut, it's not happening right, and so your levels of serotonin are low. And we see one of the most commonly prescribed medications are antidepressants called SSRIs, or selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And you can imagine that those probably for a short term make people feel better, but they're really not doing anything to address why aren't they making enough serotonin in the first place. So again, we're treating a symptom, not finding the root cause, and some of those drugs have a pretty nasty list of side effects. So the long-term use of them, it's not something I would want to take for a long period of time. And I see a lot of people that come into the practice and say that. They're like, number one, they don't like how they make them feel. And then number two, they're concerned about long-term effects of using those kinds of medicines. So even though women tend to be more affected by lower levels of serotonin, men certainly, I certainly work with men that have this issue too. And I see that. It just seems to be that women struggle with it more than men. And so serotonin isn't the only reason that digestion and mental health are intimately linked. B vitamins are another huge issue here. So many of the neurotransmitters require adequate amounts of B vitamins as building blocks for their creation. One of the most important B vitamins here is B6. So without those, some of these other neurotransmitters, serotonin is not the only one, they just aren't getting produced in the amounts that they want, just because we don't have the building blocks for that. And I will tell you that I run nutrient testing on a lot of people in my practice, and almost everyone has some level of B vitamin deficiency. Maybe it's not B6 specifically, but some of the other B vitamins are important here as well. And I see those low in just about everybody I test. So this is a big problem. Something else that complicates this problem is a genetic variant called an MTHFR variant, and it affects our ability to utilize B vitamins and increases our functional need for them. So it's more specific to folate, which is B9, and B12. And what you see with this is a genetic variant, and it affects about 40% of the population to some degree. You can have either just a little bit of an issue with this, or a pretty significant compromise in the way that your body methylates and uses these B vitamins. But about 40% of us are affected by that. I have an issue with it. My husband has an issue with it. So therefore, we know that our kids are going to have some issue with it. One has more of an issue than the other, but now we know what to do now. Genetics aren't something you can change, but you can use this information to create a strategy for you to be healthier. But this methylation issue, clinically, what I see is that those people struggle more because their B vitamin levels tend to be lower. And so then it just kind of, it's this catch-22 of you have a genetic issue affecting your B vitamins, now you don't make the neurotransmitters, your energy production is lower, just it's a lot of things, but those are all factors that I consider when I'm working with somebody. And then so how do I fleece this out when someone comes to me and they say, gosh, I really am struggling with these mental health issues, depression, anxiety, mood, whatever it is. I always ask digestive questions with everyone I see. And I love nutrient testing for this reason, because nutrient deficiencies are kind of fundamental in any chronic disease. So if we are truly trying to restore someone's health, we have got to start looking at their nutrient levels. And the way that I do my nutrient testing is I'm looking at what is making it into the cell. At the cellular level, what nutrients are deficient. And that is a very different question than what nutrients are floating around in the bloodstream. You can add a few markers to some standard labs, things like magnesium, and you may have had this done, but what that's telling you is what's in the bloodstream. And that's very different than what is making it into the cell. And I run these tests where I look at the level in the serum or plasma, and then the level in the blood cell, and we can see what's making it into a cell. And it's very common that I'll see someone has it floating around in their bloodstream, but they're not absorbing and taking in these nutrients in the cells where they need them. And that just lets us know, hey, we've got some malabsorption and some digestive issues, or stomach acid is probably off, those kind of things. Another thing that I love to do with digestion and mental health is look at an organic acids test, which has some serotonin markers, some other neurotransmitter markers on that, so that I can see what's going on. Then we have the nutrient information, and then we have all of those serotonin and neurotransmitter markers, so we can kind of see, okay, these neurotransmitters are affected. You would expect these vitamins to be low. That is the case. So now we know that the root cause is we need to build up these nutrients, and then we'll get to the root of the problem. And then also with digestion, if someone has an issue where I think maybe the balance of the bacteria is not right, they have a yeasty overgrowth called candida, or they've been exposed to something like a parasite, or they've traveled places in the world where they might be exposed to different bacteria and things that they might not want living in there, then we can look at a GI map test, a stool sample, and kind of pick that apart and look at what's there that shouldn't be there, and what is missing, what kind of good bacteria, especially if someone's had like a long history of antibiotic use. We can look at, has that completely decimated all the good bacteria, and we need to spend some time repairing and rebuilding a good healthy gut microbiome. So that's kind of how we dig in with testing and working together one-on-one. But some people are just like, hey, I'm not ready for all of that. I just give me the basics of what can I do. So here's a few strategies that anybody can do these things, and you can start now. Looking at your diet. You want to be eating a clean diet based on whole foods, as unprocessed as you can, as low in grains and sugar as you can, and rich in nutrients. Lots of veggies, some fruits, sticking to the lower sugar fruits, the berries, the citrus fruits, things like that. You want to be getting protein sources that are grass-fed, organic, clean, good protein sources. Then you also want to focus on making sure you're getting enough pure, clean water. You take your body weight, divide it in half, and drink at least that many ounces of water every day. So, you're drinking anywhere between half a gallon and a gallon of water a day. Most people is what they need. That helps flush things out. That helps with proper elimination, making sure you're going to the bathroom every day. Just a good idea. And then also, eating your protein first in a meal. If you do that, you're using the strongest stomach acid first, and protein is the hardest to break down. So you do that, and protein, of all of the macros, protein, fat, and carbohydrate, it takes the strongest stomach acid, and your stomach acid is stronger at the beginning of a meal. So you can do that. You can also split up eating and drinking, and only drink about 4 ounces of water as you're eating a meal, and hydrate outside of meal times. Just lots of water in the morning when you get up, before half an hour before you eat, or after dinner in the evening before you go to bed. Just not so much that it makes you stay up and go to the bathroom all night. But you know what I'm saying. Lots of water between meals, or before and after eating. And then let's talk about supplements that can help. I find some good high quality supplements are super helpful with digestion. And I actually created something called a gut health pack. It's a 30-day box of supplements, and there's a pack you take in the morning and a pack you take in the evening right before you eat with your food. And it includes a good probiotic to help balance the good guy bacteria, and so that it can crowd out some of the stuff you don't want in there. So you want to be feeding that. And then a good digestive enzyme to help with stomach acid, pH levels, and to help break down so you can digest and absorb the foods and the vitamins that you are taking. And then also a good high quality multivitamin with the methylated Bs, and that helps address the fact that I find so many people to be deficient in B vitamins. And we methylate those in the product, so that if you do have that MTHFR variant, you're taking the form that's good for you. And then I also include just a really good herbal preparation that has things that are really supportive of gut health, that ginger, turmeric, olive leaf, oregano oil that's emulsified, so that if you do have some of those things, like an overgrowth of yeast, or some kind of infection in there that you've picked up along the way, which is very common, that those kinds of things tend to take care of that, and to soothe the digestive environment if it's inflamed, like the turmerics and the ginger. So I also find that a lot of people are taking supplements, but they don't know if they're getting a good source or anything. So I've put a lot of time into creating a high quality line, and I think you'll like how it's in a pack, where you don't have to portion out 4 or 5 different things every day. You just take the pack. So you can check that out at drjeni.com. There'll be a link for that, for the gut health packs. Or if you go to my website, drjeni.com, you can also click on, there's a link where you can, if you feel like you might want to talk to someone and do this one-on-one thing with some of that testing that I described, and learn more about that, there's a get started link for that, and you'll just connect with a free call. And either myself, or I have a health coach that works with me and does these as well. But we can answer questions for you and connect you with the right person for that analysis and that process. So you can actually talk to a human being and get a little personalized help. So I hope that this was just some good information for you on the link between digestive health and gut health. It's there. It's very powerful. I have a lot of references I did this as a blog post also on my website. So if you want to link to where the references that I had, you can do that too. So I hope you found this helpful. Thank you for watching.